about that? Everybody wants a season like this. Did you think it was possible?
I mean, going into it, it's hard to like kind of think about, but when you go week to week and you kind of do our deal, and I think you just give a lot of credit to Yeski for just kind of keeping us afloat. And I think we've had some tough weekends at times, and we've had some weekends like we did Oklahoma where everything's just kind of going our way. So I think just going to show you the depth of our pitching staff, and we're really always in the fight.
How about you personally? I just think of the transformation that I can see you physically, and just obviously your game as well over the last couple of years. Just how proud of you of kind of what you've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a lot, but the slider has really developed my game a lot, and I think that without that pitch this year, I don't think I'd be where I am right now. And really, just big credit to Jamie and Yeski for really getting after it this fall, and really Chris as well, like Coach Johnson mentioned earlier. But he's really been a big factor to our team, really, because you look at this SEC, all the SEC teams, and they're just so like physical. So you kind of have to be there as well. So
you live 3 times a week?
Yeah, sometimes 4. Chris he's something.
I guess between you and Anthony, just the development for you two as a duo, I think a lot of people around here are saying like it's one of the best we've seen. Just how have you seen him kind of adjust to how maybe the season started for him to where he's at now and being an all-league type of pitcher?
Yeah, I mean that just goes to show you the character he has, and I think we've learned a lot from each other. I think that's been our biggest help, kind of continuing to drive each other. I think no one's ever satisfied, and we're always really pushing each other, whether he has 15 strikeouts one game, and that kind of gets me going a little bit, and the same way the other round. So always pushing each other and really showing the staff like this is how it's got to be done, and being the leaders on the staff, that's what you got to do.
Sticking with the kind of schedule you guys have been on, you've been pitching a lot of Fridays here recently. I guess in anticipation of postseason play and just kind of staying in that regimented way. Does that help you? I mean, does that help you kind of later in the season knowing that, okay, this is when I'm going to pitch and this is kind of what I need to do to get myself ready for those Friday games?
Yeah, I think that it's just a schedule that I like to stay on, and my body's used to it now. I mean, I throw 100 pitches every week and really don't fatigue that much from it. So I think just the schedule part of it has been big, and really helping with the other guys on the staff have been able to get through the other innings is really gonna show in the later innings of ball games in the postseason. So I think that just staying on schedule and having guys that are being successful right now, like Shores and them, and it's been fun to watch, and you kind of knew that was going to happen eventually.
What have you seen in Anthony as far as maturation, maybe off the field, not necessarily his pitch regimen, but just where he's kind of turned it up and really kind of ascended?
Yeah, well, I think the funny thing is you would never know whether he would have had a great weekend or not. And I think that's something that you look back with like Holman and Jump. They were kind of guys like that as well. You never knew whether they're having a really good outing or not. So I think just kind of being the same guy off the field has really been a big factor and the reason why he's so good.
How much did that wrist thing freak you out?
Not much. I just knew it was a cramp.
Really?
Yeah, it literally just locked up on me, and that was really all it was.
Has that ever happened to you before?
No, it hasn't. But I've had other little deals like that. But when you throw 100 pitch a week, it's kind of bound for stuff like that to happen.
You good? You feel?
Yeah, I feel great.
When did you learn that you got first team all SEC?
Actually, Anthony and I were at Trifecta getting a massage together. Not in the same room. Not in the same room. But after the fact, we walked out and we knew.
For you, how meaningful is that? Just because it's kind of validation in a way, right? I mean, it's an award you get showing the progress you made and the improvement and stuff like that. How meaningful?
Yeah, it's in my opinion, it's a pretty big deal. I think that it's kind of one of the things I wanted to accomplish this year. So pretty cool attribute to have, and just continuing to move on to kind of what's important now, just winning a national championship.
Well, let's be honest, the all-defensive team is really what it's at.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. So, yeah, I don't know what I did to do that, but I'll take it, man.
Pitchers are athletes, too.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
The conference is just so tough. The tournament really showcases that, I guess. What have you seen this year in league play that's really turned it up a notch?
Yeah, I think just the floor is just higher. Not necessarily you're always going to have the guys in the SEC that are that are just really good. But I think it's just the guys that hit 7th, 8th, and 9th in the order have really like stepped up, and that just goes to show you that every player wants to play in the SEC, and all the guys come here.
See it on your team.
Yeah, 100%.
What else do you and Anthony do away from the? I mean, you know, what I mean, like, do you guys go like
Walk around City Lake.
you know, go play golf or like?
No, we're stuck here for a lot of our hours of the week, but yeah, it's just we get to go to massage once a week, so it's kind of nice to get our body refreshed for the week. But yeah, we kind of hang out here and get our stuff done.
Is there anything that he's helped you with as a pitcher? Anything you picked up from him, or maybe vice versa, that has allowed y'all to be better pitchers?
Yeah, I think just really the way he goes about his business has been nice, and I think that through that it's been helpful to kind of learn through his failures as well. Because honestly, at the same time, I think experience you only learn from failures. So being able to kind of pick off each other and kind of ways to go about our business that could help each other in the long run has been something I picked up, and he's just a good dude.
How important was it, or thankful are you that Coach put you on Friday to kind of set you up for this week, to set you up for next week?
Yeah, looking back on it, it's always been nice. I think I've pitched a lot of Fridays in a row and some Thursdays, but for the most part, just being on a schedule is, it's whatever pitcher wants to be on. It's hard. I know I was in the bullpen last year, and it's a lot tougher. And just being on a schedule has been nice, just to stay in a routine. And just every week on every Monday, I'm doing the same thing, and so on. But yeah, it's been nice.
You were in Hoover last year. I'm assuming you made the trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does that help you set up for what's still ahead for your season?
Yeah, honestly, just to learn the experiences and help others along the way, and kind of understand to tell others what it's like. And I think Hoover's a blast. Probably my favorite week of the year. I didn't get to go to Omaha, so for me, that was my favorite week. And I think it's a really good experience to kind of get you ready for the postseason. I think it's another weekend of postseason play. So.
How much do you guys as players kind of follow this late in the season, just kind of where y'all are at, and we were just talking to Jay. He thinks y'all have done enough to lock up a top 8 seed. Do you guys feel that as players that y'all have earned that right to be able to get to Omaha going through the box?
Yeah, I think if we're the #1 team, I think it'd be really hard to not be the top 8 seed, but that's just my opinion on it. And I obviously want to play here. The fans obviously help out a lot for us, and just whatever advantage we can get is obviously helpful. But I think no matter where we're playing, what game we play, we'll be ready.
So weird question, but how much do you interact with Miss Virginia from this?
Every chance I get to talk to her, I do. I just walking by, I get a kiss. She's office, always saying hi. But yeah, she's nice. She's a nice person.
She's retiring this year.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What's it like to, I guess, have that? Coach is so business all the time.
Yeah.
She's a little different.
No, yeah, she keeps us in check, and she just keeps it light. So yeah.
You didn't get to go to Omaha last year. That was purely roster limitation.
Oh, we didn't make it to Omaha.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Were you talking? And you weren't here 2 years ago.
No.
Because you were a sophomore. Sorry about that. My bad.
Okay.
You pitched it.
You did go to North Carolina.
last year.
Yeah, I pitched in North Carolina. Yeah,
I
twice.
mean, like the SEC tournament.
Oh yeah, twice. Yeah.
Okay, is there a guy on this staff that you feel like it has a very similar role as you had last year?
I would say for a while is Schmidt. He pitched on Tuesdays, and I would say that yeah, for him it's kind of been the same role. But I think I had a kind of a weird role. I was the starter for half of the year and reliever for half. So I don't think we have many guys like that.
I don't think you allowed a run over your last 3 or 4 outings of the season last year, and a lot of that came in Hoover and then in the tournament. Did you start feeling yourself take a little bit of a turn towards the end of last season and kind of setting you up for this year, or just how did those last couple outings last year maybe benefit you in terms of how you wanted to approach the offseason and going into this year?
Yeah, just learning from experiences, and you kind of take a step forward every time you fail, and just continuing to kind of go with that mindset and just learning from my experiences. And yeah, I didn't give up any runs, but at the same time, it's whatever the team needs for us to win.
You're a pitcher. You see what Chase is doing right now. How big is that for you guys and for him, confidence?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have a big role this postseason, and obviously we want him to do well, and he's done really good, and just continue. He's another one of those guys who just continue to put in the work, and it'll eventually pay off. But you knew it was going to happen. So.
I feel like you're clicking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, I think our team has put ourselves in a position to host a Super, and I think that we're getting hot at the right time. I think in South Carolina we played as a true team. Whether we lost one, but I think that we played as a true team. Both sides of the ball were playing pretty well.
You individually, what are you happy with that you're doing lately?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just throwing every pitch with intent is. I think there hasn't been much of a change since the start of the season. Just when I need to make pitches, I make pitches.
Are you at all surprised at the way Luis has just worked so well with everyone, all the pitchers, and really been as consistent as he has?
No, he's a good dude, and you kind of knew that going in. He's just he puts in the work, and just, kind of stuff pays off.
I'm good, Kate.
Perfect. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you think of the SEC tournament? You like it? Love it?
I do. It's a lot of fun. I think it's a good training ground for Omaha. It's a good chance for us to go out and get some more guys, some reps, like pitchers and stuff maybe that haven't seen a lot of playing time so far this year, and see what they've got. And then obviously more at-bats and, more swings for guys that might need them.
I was just thinking about this when Kade was talking about it, but does it take you back to travel ball days where you're just kind of around the hotel or around the mall with a lot of baseball players around you?
It does. Obviously last year we weren't a top 8 seed, so we didn't stay at the big hotel, but this year we are, and we'll be in there with the top 8 seeds, and it'll be, kind of have to watch out in the hotel lobby.
Jay was telling us a few minutes ago, like, this has been a big week for kind of the everyday guys in terms of recovery and kind of getting your bodies right, I guess, for this final stretch run. What have you kind of been working on recovery-wise after playing every game this year? Did your body feel a little better, different? Just kind of what kind of goes into that this week, I guess?
Yeah, mostly just like when we got back Saturday night, I just went right to bed and kind of slept all day yesterday for the most part. But sleep's really important, and then hydration. Obviously we had a pretty light practice today, and then a pretty normal practice tomorrow. But for me, just like taking the days off when I get them, and then just kind of getting my mind away from the field, and then when it's time to check back into baseball, check back in.
We've always been so focused on the offense and stuff that we kind of don't really talk about y'all's defense. But we were just talking about with Jay, and he said nobody has more than 4 errors, I think, on the infield. I guess just how much pride do you guys take in that? Is that something you stress to one another and really hold each other accountable?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about it all the time, just playing good defense, whether that's, not bringing your at-bats to the field. There's something, when you show up to the field every day, there's 2 sides of the ball. There's offensive side, defensive side, and, it's a choice to go out there and play the defensive side. You can be super consistent with that, and we've, put a lot of work into it as well.
How the job Steven's done making the transition?
Yeah, he's been phenomenal all year at shortstop. I think he's the best shortstop in the country, and I don't say that lightly. The plays he's made all year long, nobody else makes those plays the way he makes them.
Jay was talking earlier about how you're leaner. Have you gotten leaner since you arrived here?
Well, my freshman year I was probably like 235 when I first got here. Last year, towards the end of the season, I was like 255, 260, and right now I'm about 240. Okay. So kind of fluctuate a little bit. The freshman 15 got me.
How much stronger, like as a power hitter, do you feel like you are from the weight room since when you first got here?
I don't know if I'm that much stronger necessarily. I think in high school I played football growing up, so that there was a big emphasis on the weight room there. The strongest I've ever been was probably honestly right after I had quit football, and then from then I kind of went into more baseball specific weight training roles, which is for me was more about flexibility and mobility, and being able to move around first base, and obviously I caught a little bit. So weight room for me has kind of just been maintaining the strength, and then obviously adding some mobility and being able to move and range of motion within those.
Were you getting any looks as a football player?
Well, I quit after my sophomore year. Yes, but I had one offer.
Football coach couldn't have been happy.
He wasn't too happy. He still asked me to play every couple weeks.
Who was the offer from?
Georgia Tech.
Oh, yeah.
What position?
I was a right tackle.
Right tackle.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the potential from the offense from a power standpoint is still ahead.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously from here on out, it's going to be really good teams, really good pitching, and we're going to have to compete in the box. Being at home, hopefully, for at least the first round of this, and maybe the second round will be awesome for us. I think we play better at home, and the wind might be blowing out, so that could help. But I think our brand of baseball is to win any type of ball game, whether that be 2-1 or 11-13. So we're going to go out there and just play our brand of baseball.
You've seen the SEC a couple of years now. Is this as tough as it's ever been? Why do you think that is?
I don't know if it's the toughest it's ever been. You know, I think my freshman year there were a lot of really great players in there, obviously last year as well. Definitely, you know, there's some more depth throughout the pitching staffs that we've seen this year. You know, everybody's throwing hard. It is what it is in today's game, but you just got to be able to make adjustments.
How difficult do you think it is for other teams to match up with y'all in these postseason games when you have a Jake Brown, and Ethan Fry, and Josh Pearson that can pinch hit end of the game at any point and make a difference?
Yeah, it's huge for us, obviously. I think Coach Johnson's talked about it all year. We have, you know, 13 to 15 position players that could impact winning on a daily basis. So moving forward, I think, you know, that's going to be the kind of how things go, and we're going to play matchup games and left on right, and Coach Johnson's going to move guys in and out of the lineup. But, you know, everybody's done a great job of understanding their role this year and playing for one another, and we're going to continue that.
What that job Cade's done this year is just kind of emerging and being that steady, consistent guy for you all.
Yeah, he's been awesome. You know, I think first or second time out there, Coach Johnson compared him to Paul, and from then on out, he's kind of just held that role for us of, you know, going out there and getting us a win on Friday night.
What's he bring, I guess, that's most valuable to you?
Yeah, he's just super hard worker, and he's always positive. He's always doing the right things, and so that feeds on to other people. And so when I watch him go through his business and how he does everything, you know, I just try and reflect that in the way I go about mine.
Yeah, I think I kind of see that in you making that leap last year. I guess, what has this year been for you?
Yeah, this year for me has just been, you know, super grateful for the opportunity. Obviously, you know, you get different perspectives throughout the years of your life, and from a freshman, you know, just being super excited to be on the team and to be here and, you know, wide-eyed open for college athletics, and now, you know, kind of taking it in a little bit more as I go through it, you know, and just trying to enjoy every single moment.
What about a player like Ethan? I think you guys came in together, same recruiting class. Just he's finally starting to get those consistent opportunities. Sometimes he's batting right behind you in that 4-hole. As a hitter, what does he provide y'all's offense, and just how have you liked seeing him develop this year into the player that he's become?
Yeah, he's been awesome. I think, you know, he's a true role model for guys in college baseball today. You know, have stuck it out when times weren't always easy for him. You know, he went through an injury last year and, you know, worked his tail off to get healthy and recovered and be ready to go for opening day this year. And, I mean, every opportunity he's gotten, he's taken full advantage of it, and that just speaks to the kind of guy he is, kind of teammate he is, and kind of player he is.
Do you feel like you've been chasing home runs at all this season?
No, I think the home runs are what they are. I know that they'll come. You know, I hit 28 last year, and, you know, I'm at whatever I'm at this year, but a lot of baseball ahead of us, and I'm just more worried about impacting winning.
How about Hoover? I mean, how do you like that way that field plays, and you can go get out of there pretty easy off of it?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's a big park to center, 405, you know, like our place, but, you know, I had some good history there last year, and obviously, you know, we're going to try and make a run this year.
So you said you're 20 pounds lighter this year than
about 15, yes, sir.
Pounds. Was that on purpose, or did that just happen? Or?
It was on purpose, somewhat intentional. I felt slow last year, slower than I am now at least, and so I just wanted to kind of lose a little bit of weight, make myself move better.
You don't feel you've lost any power with that
Not
weight?
necessarily, no.
You're right on pace.
Your ritual of talking to the bat, what are you saying?
I say the Hail Mary walking up to the plate.
All right. Is that new, or you've been doing that?
I've been doing that for about a year and a half now, probably. My mom, she prays the rosary probably every day, and I know that that's the most said prayer in the rosary, so I just say that when walking up.
You write something in the dirt too, don't you?
A cross and the number 3, yeah.
You guys don't bat the same hand, but have you given Derek any advice on just, you know, sticking with it? Obviously, tough league you play in, and there's ups and downs as a freshman. So.
Yeah, I think it's good for him to go through those. Obviously, I think, you know, everybody goes through them at some point in your career, whether you're 14, 15, or freshman in college or in, you know, pro ball. So for him, you know, it's a little bit of he's got to work through it himself, and then, you know, mentally, if I ever see him down on himself, which he never has been, or if he's ever not himself, you know, maybe I just pick him up in that spot. But for the most part, he's a super bright kid, has a good head on his shoulders, and can handle himself. So, you know, I think he's done a great job for us all year long, and I just kind of let him do his thing.
Did that opposite field home run you hit at South Carolina, did you hit the road?
I have no idea.
Did it like, what did that swing feel like? I mean, did you even feel like you made contact with it? Because it seemed like it was so sweet that you probably didn't even feel it.
Yeah, there are times where you don't feel it. You know, I think at that point in the game, you know, we were trying to, it was a tie the game at 1 right there, and, you know, we just kind of looking for the offense to get going. Myself, I was, you know, trying to get going on the weekend, so just got a good pitch to hit, you know, and just put a good swing on it.
can a home run early in a series or a regional or an SEC baseball, can it set the table for a hitter?
Absolutely, yeah. I think, you know, one good swing sometimes is all it takes, just that feel of, you know, good contact and maybe even, you know, a good result sometimes can pull you out of some things. But for me, I'm just always right back to the process of, you know, hey, did I get a good pitch to hit on, and did I take a good swing at it? And if not, then, you know, there's not much to really talk about.
How particular are you with your bat?
Not super. I've changed it up a couple of times this year. Just kind of like feel thing weight-wise. Some are end-loaded, some are more hand-loaded.
It seemed like y'all were smoking the ball pretty consistently, even when there were outs or line drive outs or ground ball outs. It seemed like the hits were coming off the bat pretty hot last week. Do y'all think you maybe, I don't want to say turned the corner, but found that kind of consistency back at the plate that you maybe were a little bit fighting a little bit there towards the middle of SEC play? Yeah,
for sure. I think, you know, we've done a lot of work with the coaching staff and one another as far as getting us back on track where we want to be offensively. You know, Coach Johnson was telling us how it wasn't that far away. We just needed to be a little bit better, and I feel like over these last couple games we've gotten to that a little bit better.
I think Daniel played shortstop at Utah Valley, if I'm not mistaken. Did he catch on to second base pretty quickly? Is that kind of rare to be able to do that fast?
Yeah, I've never played the middle infield, so I have no idea about the transition from one side to the other, but he's done a great job over there, and he's a really hard worker and a very good competitor, so I'm sure you could put him in center field and he would go out there and play really well. You know, he's just a dirtbag in a way, you know, just kind of a gritty guy who always wants to go out there and have fun and play the game.
What's this time of year mean to you?
It's big for me, you know. It's the reason I came back to school for this moment exactly. You know, SEC tournament, regional, you know, super regionals in Omaha. So, you know, going to be super grateful for every opportunity I get. Take it one pitch at a time and see what happens.
And going forward, you know, through the postseason, knowing you have Cade and Anthony as that 1-2 punch, how does that help you, the hitters and the offense, knowing that you have that going into the postseason?
Yeah, you know, obviously Andy and Ann have been tremendous for us this year. Obviously the 1-2 punch that everybody talks about, but, you know, we're going to go out there, play good defense behind them, try and get them, you know, off their feet and sitting in the dugout for long innings and, you know, just control the game on our side offensively. And, you know, I don't think we're chasing, you know, 8 or 11 runs. It's probably going to be more like 5 to 6 will win us a ball game with them on the mound. So, you know, that's what we know we have to do that day.
Does it feel different? Like, yeah, kind of like Jay used to always, you know, score 4 runs in every inning. You know, like this year feel like, we get 2 on there, we're real good.
Yeah, at times, you know, obviously I think we've won some games against some other tough pitchers. Like I think back to Mississippi State, we beat, you know, their guy on a Friday night 2-1. And then, you know, we boat raced them on Sunday. So I just think sometimes the way the bullpen lines up or the way that pitchers have, you know, sometimes pitchers go out there and have good stuff that night, and other times they're not feeling so great. So, you know, it's baseball. You're going to go out there and get a different result every time, but, you know, we're trying to stay consistent.
What's your bat measurements that you're swinging now?
Kade X2.
Is it longer or shorter? Or?
It's the same length. It's just 2-piece, and it's a little bit more end-loaded versus balanced.
How much do you swing different bats like during the game?
I've changed like 3 times this year, I think.
So like in between games, are you swinging other bats or?
No, usually it's just like I show up to the field and like try something different today.
Okay.
All right, all good?
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Good luck. Jared.